I learned how to bike when I was 51. I knew I was going to fall, and I didn't want to have internal struggle. On the first day I hit a Honda. What an expensive experience. It cost me almost the same price as the bike. I'm an author, I'm a businessman, I'm an educator. I'm known in the field of marketing, innovation, and entrepreneurship. This is Josiah Go. 我是午夜世雅, and this is my profile. I was a C student in elementary and high school. I remember my dad gave me incentive when I was in grade 1, and he would give me 1 peso for every good grades that I got. My late grandfather was very worried. He kept on telling everybody in the dinner table, there's a Chinese term called boy chan boy kao, because I was very quiet all throughout. My mom is so nice. My mom lives with me, and when I'm in town, I go to church with her. I can only say she's pure of heart. My father, he's a writer. He was president of the Filipino Chinese Writers Association and Columnists Association as well. And he turned out to have so many books. I learned that education is very important. When I was studying at Salle, that was 78 to 82. I felt God's grace. First few years, I was a working student. Yeah, I became friends with some people in the Anglicom community. That's the Filipino Chinese Association. And then, they actually helped me. I was, truth be told, I was a nobody. I was just bumming around. But then, they believe in me, maybe much more than I believe in myself. And that was the start. Maybe they saw something in me. And that was my first big break in leadership. And I owe it all to them. After graduation, I got a job in RFM. So I worked there for 3 years. I was in marketing, I was in brand marketing. Started my love affair with marketing. No, I had a lot of failures. My first business in 1985, I was selling cassette tapes. My biggest mistake was I declared a price war. In a price war, the one with the lower cost is going to win. You enter a business to make money. At all costs, avoid the price war. And along the way, so many mistakes that I have done. But it's a good thing, and every time there's a mistake, I always recover, learn from it. My wife is not that Chinese. My wife is a Filipina. My dad wanted to talk to me. And I thought, oh God, this is it. I think there might be confrontation, and I was trying to avoid it if it's not necessary. But lo and behold, I got the shock of my life, because I had to, explain to him that I love my girlfriend. He was the one who said, well, if you love your girlfriend, you go ahead. If you want to marry your girlfriend eventually or now, it's okay with him. About 10 years of my life, I was a struggling businessman. And I was hardly in the house. So truth be told, my wife took care of my kids. She decided to be a full-time housewife. My absence was greatly compensated because of the time that she spent with my children. It's kind of difficult to work with husband and wife. There were a lot of stress, and we had to agree that once we come home, we should separate the business and the home. So as much as possible, we try not to talk about business at home. Smith and Fielders is a company that was set up in 1990. Start teaching marketing, and I start getting other people to help me out. And lo and behold, one thing led to another. We now have the biggest marketing and sales, as well as innovation and strategy courses in Asia Pacific. We have 70 courses all in all. When I started in my writing, of course, the first people that I invited are my friends and my family members. Credit to the editing effort of my wife. She will always make it so easy to read. But now, she's not just editor, she's my co-author, and she would add so many other things. The Chinese Filipino community is one fantastic group. A few years ago, I realized I've been successful, but I have not done much to the Filipino Chinese community. We set up Learning Chinese is Fun because we wanted to encourage the teachers to be responsible, to say, hey, let's get the interests of the student. Let's not do memory work. Let's encourage them to study on their own. When they were young, I used to show them, a poster that I wrote. I said, here's the marketing philosophy, better than before, better than others, better than expected. And sometimes they would close their ears and say, Dad, we already know about that. And I keep on repeating that. I said, I expect you to be better than before. That means better than your previous generation. I don't force them that they have to like what I do. They have other fields to explore. I actually want to create a fund to support young entrepreneurs. I'd like to use the time, not just to mentor, to teach people in classroom, but to actually invest in companies. And I'd like to come up with more books. The whole thing about riding bikes and life story is a very simple concept. You have to know your why. You only live one life, so learn new skills, keep making a difference, inspire other people, help other people. That's my biking lesson. This is Josiah Go. 我是午夜四牙. I'm an educator, author, and businessman, and this is my profile.